Okay, so in this video I'm mostly going to just look at the figs in my yard, give you advice on growing figs. I think they're an incredible type of fruit tree that I can't imagine not having. Welcome to Eat Your Backyard, my YouTube channel. So stoked you showed up. I really appreciate it. I hope you will subscribe right now and hit the like button before you even know you like it. Why not? So we start the day by just checking in on two very sleepy bunnies. They're hard at work, producing the manure that fuels the worm farm that produces this Zentopia yard experience. Today I am going to tell you about credible type of fruit tree, which I think should be in every yard. Actually really easy to grow. Okay, let's get right into it. Now this first fig tree has been on the channel for many years. It is actually a fig tree I grew from the alpha fig tree I bought at a local nursery and had planted in the opposite side of my yard, my food forest. I ended up trying to move it because I put a child swing set back there for my oldest two kids who are now off in college. Anyhow, it didn't move well. It was a giant fig tree, but I had taken a couple cuttings off of it, and this was one of the cuttings that I planted over here on the side of my yard. And the brown turkey fig tree that grew up here has just been wonderful for years. Lots of videos. I'll include links above so that you can go check it out. But this is April. In fact, it's Easter Sunday. It's April Sunday, as I call it. Beautiful spring day. And the fig tree started to bloom roughly a month ago, and I trimmed it back heavily this year. So one of the things I like to do is to keep I'm going to back up so you can see it. I like to keep the height at a pickable range. So in the early spring I trim it back almost every year and just keep it low. That also promotes a lot of growth where you want it. Another good thing to do is to thin out the canopy, but already the fruit is starting to form. If you can see those nice initial fruit. We'll talk about a few things about fig trees in this video that I find interesting. One is the quality of the fruit is generally pretty good throughout the varieties, but some have an open bottom to the fruit and some have it closed. That can affect how buggy it gets. This one has one that can get open as it gets very ripe, and late in the season the figs tend to have an open end where bugs can get in. So that's kind of an issue in Florida where it's very buggy, but I just pick them before that happens and it's great. And in fact they ripen very easily on the counter or in a bowl. They ripen very fast and get that fig Newton-y kind of thing going on. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. You know exactly what I'm saying. Look at that. All those are figs. So for this reason alone, I would say you need to have a fig tree in your life. Now you might not have a yard, or you might be in a place where it's, or for whatever reason, difficult to have any kind of tree, but this is one that will actually grow very well in a pot if you get a very big pot. Fig tree is a relative of the ficus, so you know it has that strong rooting capability. This fig tree will throw out roots. I'll find them on the other side of the backyard. It's not that big of a yard, but I mean the point is that these trees have very strong lateral rooting, so they actually spread out on the top. They don't actually go that deep, but they spread out in long distances, a lot like a ficus tree that you would classically think of, where they have those aerial roots. This one I have not found had aerial roots, but one thing I have found is that it is very easily grown from cuttings. And I let these suckers grow, what I call suckers, but these little sprouts grow. and I'll let them grow to a certain size, and I'll push sand up around them so that they will promote the growth of roots, and then I trim them underneath where they grew. So it produces a cutting that is very easy to plant with roots on it. And that method has worked for me for years. I'm going to actually grow a few for my neighbor who expressed some interest in it, which is really cool. I love to give fruit trees to the neighbors. Look at that. That's a prime cutting specimen. Okay, so the brown turkey fig, a copious producer of fruit. This year it is affected a bit by the addition of this by putting this rabbit enclosure around it, but it provides beautiful shade as well. This enclosure I built has a little bunny run and bunny hutch system for my fertilizer and my worm farm, which is working out great. Okay, let's check out some of the other fig trees that we added. Now, before we go and look at the other 3 varieties I added this year, I want to go back deep into the fruit jungle down this path. Now, I'm going to just take a moment, because I really don't want to step on Mr. Black Racer, which I saw back here not that long ago. He'll be sitting out here on these rocks still. But this nether region of my yard is the place where balls come to die slowly in the summer heat. Look at this. John, I gotta get that for Jack. I'm gonna leave it there for Jack and have him go find it, because he'll find it today. Actually, today is Easter. It's gonna be an Easter hunt, Easter egg hunt. So this is gonna be prime territory. Okay, but all right. Now, by the way, this is Mexican petunia back here, which is very interesting type of underground running petunia. In Florida, you know, it never freezes, so it just grows underground forever. As soon as you plant it, you'll never not have it. It's beautiful, but you know, but it's actually, this year I've been learning to appreciate the chop and drop value of it, which is it's a great compostable thing. You can throw it and it dissolves back into the soil very rapidly, so I like that. It serves my permaculture objectives quite well. Walking back here, this is one that I planted from that tree we were just looking at, and look at that. I'm gonna actually clear this out so I can get to it and harvest fruit from it this year, but it's just grown in beautifully. And it's really just in and amongst Dracaena, and it's like very much like a little jungle here. You see up there, there's tons of papaya, and all the papaya are falling down on the ground constantly. So this whole area is just organically fed constantly, which is great. I'm going to put worms under here, and you can see all that Mexican petunia. I could just pull that and just put it down on the ground, and it'll be a great assist. But yeah, they grow very well from cuttings is the point. This is the proof. You saw where they started, and those suckers, I just plant those in potting soil. You know, bury them as deep as you want. They'll grow roots. Doesn't need to be any specific depth or anything. It's very simple. In fact, I grew 3 this year in the What You Got Growing On series, and oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Giant oyster plant. Yeah, and that's the smaller variety there of oyster plant, I believe. Yeah, those are great. Those are great in the shade. Okay, so let's go and take a look at the other 3 varieties of fig tree. Man, look at this day. Are you kidding me? Whew. All right. Isn't that something? This is the Neri, spelled G-E-N-E-R-I. Very interesting. Oh, look at that. It's interesting. Well, anyhow, as you can see, it's got some rust on the leaves already. It had rust on it when I bought it, and which is a type of like, I think it's a type of like mold or something that gets on it, fungus, more or less a fungus, and it produces these little black dots. And this one had it on all of its leaves, and so what I tried to do was take off all the leaves that had it, and I did that, and then the new leaves got it. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. Just started to really grow in a hardy, new, fresh green growth. Now, and when I get a new fig tree, I expect it to kind of take a little while to again, establish these roots, this complex rooting system that it does. You got to kind of let that go. And I think transplanting big fig trees, that's why they typically fail, is because the roots are, you can't transplant the root system and it just dies. It's not made to be like chopped the roots around it and then moved. That's been my experience every time. It'll die. But you can get a cutting off the bottom, like look, this one. I'm going to get some cuttings off of this one. I'm going to mound dirt up around it, and these will grow roots, and then I'll just snip them. Oh yeah. But I'm not going to fight the rust. This is a fact of life in Florida. Unless you want to use a lot of, you know, remediation, you can. There are ways to do it. I'm just not interested in it. It doesn't affect the fruit. It makes them look a little spotty, but it doesn't bother me one bit. I like it. So it'll grow through it. It's such a strong grower. Again, a ficus made to grow, and as long as you give it the sun, it just drinks it up. It's definitely, this Neri fig tree is rather large leafed variety, and they also say it has large fruit. The description at the nursery said that the fruit get to be tennis ball size, which is really cool. So I'm glad it's growing. The fact that it's growing new growth means it's going to do pretty well. It's already had the salty irrigation on its leaves to the extent that I would wonder if it would survive it, and it has. It's growing through it, and that may be also attributing to this rust on the leaves. But the Neri is a novelty ad. Now I paid more for this one. I paid about 30 bucks for it. At the nursery, I thought it was a good find and a new variety. A lot of people focus on growing other types of trees than figs around here, I think, and they, you know, might miss out on some cool novelty. Another one I got, now look, this one I got for about 13 bucks at a local department store, more or less, and it is the white Marseilles is what it was called, and it's a smaller fig tree, which I think is cool. That's why I put it in this nook here. You can see I've got a longan tree, which, by the way, look at those fruit. I have so many longan. This thing hasn't had fruit for, I don't know, 7-8 years, and I gave it the bunny turds and the vermiculture this year as part of my permaculture system, and it has fruit. What a coincidence. I'm so stoked. I've read this is a closed type of fig, a smaller type of fig fruit as well, but delicious fruit. The white Marseilles is definitely rooted in now, and you can tell it's shooting up new growth. Now it also had the rust on the leaves, but I removed most of the leaves, but as you can see, it's getting it again on the newer growth. So that's it. I'm not going to remove any more leaves. I'm going to let it grow, and it's certainly off and running. A lot of the shoots have healthy green growth, and I'm not seeing a lot of damage around the edges. That's what I would look for. You know, it's a little bit stressed, but I'm not worried about that. The bulk of the leaf looks like it's going to produce what this tree's going to need to set fruit. I'm looking forward to see it setting fruit. Even the smaller fig trees can produce the fruit, which is, you know, really cool thing about fig trees is you're going to get fruit sooner than having to wait for some of the other types of fruit trees. Now the fourth variety is the Celeste, and the Celeste is a, I think, popular variety of fig, also very showing the most resilience to the rust. You can see it's also got it a little bit on some of the older growth, but for the most part it looks like it's not affected by it in the new stuff, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I know this one is a closed end type of fruit, which is cool. I think it's like a medium size fruit. I've heard good things about it, but you know, they generally say it's not the best fig, but it's an easy fig to grow. Like it's a good flavored fig. I mean, any fig's a great fig, right? In my book. So yeah, can't wait to try all these figs this year. I'll make fruit harvest videos, so please subscribe if you're not already. That way you can check that out. And look at this areca clump. I just threw a seed pod there in a video I made, and it has grown into a beautiful areca palm clump, which is going to resemble something like this beautiful thing right here. So hey, if you like these types of videos, want to know how to grow the type of stuff I'm into, go ahead and subscribe to Each Backyard. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Maybe now is the time to get a fig tree in your life.